Welcome to UK Voices 22. The cameras rolled, the audience roared, and Meghan Markle walked onto the Graham Norton Show with the kind of confidence that usually signals she had a plan to reinvent her public image, this time through the most unlikely of ventures, cooking. Yes, Meghan Markle, the self-proclaimed Duchess of Sussex, wanted to position herself as the next global culinary personality, talking up her so-called cooking project that, according to her, was set to blend her American authenticity with royal sophistication. But here's where it all began to crumble, because instead of applause, her carefully laid ambitions were met with thinly veiled mockery, pointed questions, and an audience that seemed more entertained by her discomfort than her dream. From the very first seconds of her pitch, viewers sensed something wasn't right. Why was Meghan, a woman with no culinary background, suddenly pushing herself as a kitchen authority? And why, of all places, did she choose the Norton stage, a platform notorious for exposing fake personas and crushing inflated egos? Those who tuned in expected glamour, but what they witnessed was humiliation dressed up as entertainment. And the deeper the conversation went, the clearer it became that Meghan's cooking plans weren't just flawed, they were crushed under the weight of her own overconfidence and a brutally unsympathetic spotlight. As the interview unfolded, Graham Norton wasted no time cutting into Meghan's glossy presentation. He leaned in with that trademark smirk, asking questions not meant to flatter but to expose. "So, Meghan, what's your signature dish?" he asked, eyebrow raised. It was a simple question, yet Meghan hesitated, fumbling for words before giving an oddly generic response about roast chicken and wholesome family meals. The audience chuckled, not because it was funny, but because it felt hollow, like someone reading from a script rather than speaking from experience. And then came the stinger. Dame Helen Mirren, seated comfortably on the sofa beside Meghan, tilted her head and quipped, "Well, darling, everyone thinks they can cook roast chicken. But a cookbook? Really?" The crowd erupted, not with support, but with laughter, at Meghan's expense. From that moment on, the air shifted. Meghan's nervous smile froze, her hands clenched tightly together, and the illusion of confidence began to unravel live on stage. But the humiliation didn't stop there. Norton pressed further, pointing out that several celebrity chefs, actual experts, had long dominated the space Meghan was attempting to enter. "What makes you different from Nigella Lawson, Jamie Oliver, or Gordon Ramsay?" he asked. Meghan tried to salvage the moment by positioning herself as a modern lifestyle brand, but the words landed like a lead balloon. Helen Mirren leaned back, sipping her water with regal disdain, while the audience's laughter underscored every misstep Meghan made. And here's where the real curiosity loop takes hold, because behind the surface embarrassment was a bigger truth. Meghan's attempt to reinvent herself through cooking wasn't about food at all. It was about control, relevance, and desperately clinging to a public stage that seemed more eager to push her off than welcome her back. The irony was brutal. Meghan wanted to look like the next Martha Stewart, or Ina Garten, but instead she looked like someone play-acting a role she didn't understand. Even the press backstage whispered about how unprepared she seemed, with one source remarking that Meghan overestimated her charm and underestimated the British audience's appetite for authenticity. By this point, the suspense was unbearable. Would Meghan manage to pull it together and save her cooking project's credibility? Or was this the definitive public crushing of her ambitions? The show continued, the tension thickened, and the answer became painfully obvious to everyone watching. By the time the interview drew to a close, Meghan Markle's cooking dream wasn't just dented, it was shattered. Her attempt to present herself as a culinary authority had backfired spectacularly. Graham Norton, with his razor-sharp wit, had poked holes in every layer of her pitch. Helen Mirren, with her effortless gravitas, had delivered the knockout blow with a single sarcastic remark. And the audience? They had laughed, clapped, and witnessed a royal train wreck that no PR spin could disguise. What was meant to be Meghan's triumphant unveiling of a new chapter ended as a public lesson in overreach. The promise in the title, Meghan's cooking plans being crushed, was fully realized before millions of viewers, leaving her scrambling to recover dignity that was slipping away by the second. And while some of her most loyal defenders will insist she was merely misunderstood, the reality is undeniable. Meghan tried to reinvent herself yet again, and this time, she failed in front of the one crowd she could least afford to alienate, the British public. The Graham Norton Show didn't just expose cracks in her cooking project. It shattered the entire facade of authenticity she was trying to project. In the end, Meghan Markle left the stage with that familiar, frozen smile plastered on her face, but the world had already seen through it. Her cooking plans weren't just questioned, they were crushed, laughed at, and discarded in real time. And that, more than anything, was the most embarrassing part of all.